All righty, great to see everybody coming in, all the participants. Welcome again. As I mentioned, I'm Eric Cox. I'm a member of the Netcapital team. As always, I'm very excited to be here with a company that's actively raising capital on the Netcapital platform. Today, we're here with the team at Nebulai. As always, they're actively raising capital on the platform. I'm gonna go ahead and add a link to that into the chat here. There it is. So you can go ahead and click that link and you can view more information on their offering page. You can also review their offering statement. But before we let you dig into that, let's go ahead and allow our guests to introduce themselves. But even before I go that far, let's do a couple of really quick housekeeping items. So as you can tell, there is a Q&A and chat feature built into Zoom. Please do use that Q&A feature. It makes it so much easier for me to track all the questions as they come in and answer as many of them as we can. So go ahead and do use that Q&A feature instead of the chat function. That is about all that we need to get started. So with all that being said, please welcome Renato Garo and the rest of the Nebulai team to share a little bit about what they're building. Come on in, Renato.
Okay, thank you, Eric, very much. Good afternoon, good morning to everybody that's attending this session. Thank you so much for the opportunity to present to you the company that we're working on, which is Nebulai. And just a little quick intro on me. I'm Renato Garo, one of the founders of Nebulai. Nebulai is a decentralized solutions and talent marketplace. My experience in technology is around 15 years working for big tech companies such as Microsoft, NetApp, and other companies, and as well as doing blockchain consulting for the past 5 years here in the Miami area. Miami has been growing so much when it comes to the blockchain space that we're super excited to be at the front and center of what is becoming the capital of blockchain here in the United States and the world potentially. And my experience is also with program management, product management. And I currently also the open source lead at Microsoft. I handle a $150 million business. And my job is to drive the open source strategy for Microsoft and create an open source ecosystem of developers around open source technologies. So I'll pass it on to Stefano for intros, our other co-founder.
And you're muted, Stefano.
Thank you, Renato. Thank you very much. My name is Stefano Gurbalis. I'm one of the founders for Nebula Corporation. I have been working in the industry for about 36 years. I have worked as a consultant and technical advisor for the largest technology companies in the world. I always love creating value for my clients, my passion, and that's what Nebula is. I started my career building the largest college here in the nation, Miami-Dade College. At one point, they used to register over 180,000 students a year. COVID has brought that substantially. Then I moved to work as a principal architect for Motorola. I worked as a consultant for digital equipment. Later in my career, I worked for very prestigious organization, Bell Labs Innovation, Luciana Vaya. In my last engagement was as a consultant with Capgemini. Right now I'm building Nebulai, and that's what my passion is. It's about making a difference to our users. Nebulai is a human-centric organization that drives value into the user. With that, I would like to continue and introduce my other founder, Raul Dokume, please.
Yeah, hi. Thank you, Stefano. My name is Raul Dokume. I'm the third founder here at Nebulai. My background is primarily in information security and cloud. I have approximately 10 years of experience as a solution architect. And my role within the company is primarily that of the security and compliance officer for the blockchain, which is fitting because I started off my career as an IT auditor with Ernst & Young as I developed into a little bit more into the security field, and finally ending off my career as a solution architect. I'm a native of Miami, also a veteran of the United States Army, and very happy to be here in what is becoming the the hub in the for blockchain in the United States, Miami, in the Sunshine State, Florida. So very happy also to welcome and introduce our CFO, Efrain Rodriguez. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Raul. Just very briefly, my name is Efrain Rodriguez. I am CFO for Nebulai, 25 years experience in financial services across wealth management and investments, investment banking, assisting major financial institutions with their financings across Europe and emerging markets, along with an insurance background and risk management. I did that at companies from Merrill Lynch to Citibank, and I did that globally for 15 years outside of the United States. I'm now in Miami and working with the Nebulai founders. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the introductions, team. So great to have you all on the line. So thank you for that time to share about what you're building here. I'm going to open this up to whoever wants to take it. Can you just give us a brief overview of Nebulai as a company?
Yes, Eric, thanks for the question. So Nebulai is a decentralized solutions and talent marketplace. And the way we've been referencing Nebulai is as a combination, let's say, of Upwork and Kickstarter, but for the Web3. So think about Nebulai as a one-stop shop where organizations will be able to find highly skilled talent in technology and also the best solutions in the technology space today, and contract that using smart contracts, which basically disintermediates the whole process of the contracting process. On top of that, the Nebulai marketplace will be able to be used as an innovation platform where companies can release their projects into the marketplace, and the marketplace can find the best talent and solutions for the projects so that companies can innovate faster and transform their business. So that is at a high level what we do at Nebulai. And all this is based, of course, on blockchain technologies. And the blockchain technology allows for the higher security, transparency, and efficiency of the process, which will make us be more differentiated in the marketplace compared to other companies that are in the space today that may be only Web2 companies and companies that may be getting into the Web3 space but are not quite there yet. So that's at a high level.
Yeah, that's super helpful to understand. And we'll dig into the problem and solution in just a moment. But I know there are a couple other members of the team that are not on the line right now. Can you tell us a little bit about Luis and your advisors, Kent and Giovanni?
Yeah, so we have a really good diverse team. The team is actually a team majority based in Miami, but we have a team around the world. Actually, our CEO, and I can, should I share the screen, Eric, or just talk through it?
Up to you.
Yeah, let me share the screen since there's some visuals there that I can. Hopefully you guys see the screen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. So yeah, on the team, our CEO Luis is based out of Spain. He is coming from a big technology background. Currently a technology executive at Nebulai. Comes from experience working for Microsoft, creating an ecosystem to launch the Windows 7 phone in Europe, and working for companies such as AT&T, Nokia, and Telefonica. Has vast experience in the technology space, creating ecosystems, and yeah, it's been super instrumental for us. You met Stefano, myself, and Raul, so I'll skip through those super quick and go to the rest of the team. You met Efrain. The next person that it's in the advisory team is Raja Naeem. He's a PhD in computer science from University of Aberdeen and has been one of the early proponents of the centralized marketplace. The centralized marketplaces. He wrote the first, one of the first white papers on decentralized marketplaces using blockchain technologies for government tendering, basically to make government tendering more transparent using blockchain. And Raja has been instrumental for us to join the team from really early stages to be able to define the blockchain architecture that we're using to be able to create this marketplace. He's also the CEO of Seclia, which is an AI company to make sure that AI models are sustainable and are inclusive. And Giovanni is also one of the advisors at Nebulai. He's handling all the marketing strategy at Nebulai, comes from a background in technology and marketing as well. Currently the digital marketing manager for Related, which is one of the bigger infrastructure construction firms here in Miami and in the United States. We also have Jordan Rosenberg, who is our sales and business development lead, coming from a background of working for startups and big organizations in technology, leading always a sales team and scaling the sales strategies for companies, medium and large companies, and has a lot of experience in North American and European ecosystems. And recently joined Michael Branco, our business strategy advisor, comes with 25 years of experience, successful launch of more than 3 startups, and recently exited one of these startups for a very good transition and profitable deal for him. So he's been helping us to bootstrap this startup and take this Nebulai to the next stage, so where we can tap into potential other strategic alliances and opportunities as we move forward with the marketplace. So that's at a high level, the team.
Yeah, I think it's always super helpful to understand not only the core day-to-day folks, but also the advisors that you're able to build onto your advisory team. And this is a really well-suited group of individuals. So congratulations for that. Let's dig deeper into the product itself. So let's do this in 2 stages. Can we start off with talking about what is the problem that Nebulai solves? And then we'll go into exactly what those solutions are.
Yeah, so the problem is actually very interesting, because we have identified that today organizations looking for best-in-class talent and solutions don't really have a good place to be able to find them all. Organizations, for example, looking for technology solutions really don't have, let's say, a technology agnostic marketplace where they can find the best solutions for the different industries and use cases. So think about kind of like Amazon.com, right? Where this is kind of like your one-stop shop for you buying furniture, books, electronics, and so on. There is nothing like that today in the technology space, where if you're a company, you can just go to an Amazon.com where you can find what would be the best technology solution for my business challenge. So that is very difficult for companies to navigate. Basically, they have to rely on working with, let's say, the big tech companies and the products they release, or working with the smaller providers that are unvetted and sometimes hard to find. And when you do find them, it's really risky to do business with them, because you don't know who's on the other side, if they're going to deliver the products and services at the time and based on the agreement that was made between the parties. So that is very risky and expensive, and it's a lot of problems for organizations. On the other side, organizations are also looking to find the best talent that they can leverage to be able to build intellectual property or innovate on their businesses, and it's very hard to find them. So basically the whole point of Nebulai is to bring those 2 things together and remove all the different blockers that we have found in the technology space, which is complex solution contracting, which I was mentioning is very complex, expensive, high fees, 20 to 30% transaction fees, slow transactions, centralized ecosystems, which basically really doesn't allow companies to innovate. And there's a lot of arbitrary rules that are imposed by the marketplaces that exist today. In accessibility of capital, if companies wanted to innovate, there is really very little platforms that allow you to access into new capital that you can use to innovate as an organization in a way that's decentralized. And finally, siloed and expensive ecosystems. All these ecosystems that we have been able to find today are siloed, and they just solve the one problem, but they don't allow an organization to be able to innovate holistically as an approach. So that's the main problem we have identified from our experience in the technology space.
Super helpful to better understand the complexity of this problem. Let's dig into your solution now. What types of products do you offer to be able to deal with those? Perfect.
Yeah, so the solution for us is to build a marketplace, which would be kind of like the single-stop shop for organizations to be able to find best-in-class technology solutions and talent. And for us, that allow us to create a system or a marketplace that can allow organizations to have simplified contracting using smart contracts, automated, frictionless and faster payments, borderless transactions, a decentralized marketplace that basically democratizes the way that the companies and individuals using the marketplace would have partial ownership, let's say, on the marketplace, or at least decision-making power on the marketplace, and removing intermediation and bias, because our marketplace would allow talent to publish their skills without having, and being able to be contracted without, let's say, the different filters that can be applied to to create a biased transaction when it comes to talent. When it comes to accessing capital, tapping into the DeFi ecosystem allows organizations to innovate faster, access capital without having to go through the cumbersome steps that you need to go through when you get capital from traditional financial, let's say, vehicles. So you can get capital faster and integrated in a cost-efficient ecosystem where everything is integrated, automated, and seamless. And yes, this is based on blockchain technologies, but for the end user, basically you would have a web and mobile UI that doesn't need you to be familiar with blockchain or be super techy or anything like that. The platform is going to be user-friendly, easy to use, and anybody, whether you're in blockchain or not, are going to be able to benefit from all the technology benefits and business benefits that comes from having a blockchain underlying system to support this marketplace.
And that's perfect. That segues well into one of the questions that just came in. And I do want to remind the attendees, the participants, please do ask your questions in the Q&A. We really want to keep this as interactive as possible. Let's dig into the product. And as you're doing that, let's answer this question. Do you use blockchain technology as part of your solution?
Yes, so we do. So the underlying, you see the kind of like the UI that I'm showing on the screen. The UI is going to be user-friendly. It's going to be easy to use. We already started working on the UI, and the blockchain technology is used for basically for the consensus layer to make sure that the transactions are kept in the blockchain, which is a database, right? That is immutable. You cannot change the transactions once they're made. They're secure because they're encrypted, and there's other benefits that comes with that. For example, like the payments, right? You can make payments across borders without having to go through the traditional let's say payment gateways that exist today, which are very expensive when it comes to fees. It would be cheaper on this marketplace to transact. Today, like I was mentioning, Upwork and Fiverr, for example, charge a 20 to 30% transaction fee to the talent, which is very expensive for the talent. And for us, talent is not a product. For us, talent is an asset. We don't want to monetize the talent. We want to monetize the solutions created by the talent so that we have those available in the marketplace and can monetize that. But from the talent side, we want to charge the lowest possible fee to be able to allow talent to be able to access this platform and provide their skills and be contracted at a fair price, basically not having to pay the high fees that exist today. And blockchain allows you to do all those things basically without getting technical about it.
Yeah, it looks like there's some big blockchain fans in the chat here. Do you use public or private blockchain? Good question.
Yes, it's a great question. So we use a combination of both. The public blockchain would allow us to basically have a consensus layer that it's, let's say, available to everybody for validation. But with that, it comes kind of like, let's say, high transaction fees when it comes to, let's say, the gas fees that may come with validating the transactions, let's say, on the Ethereum blockchain. For that, we use a permission blockchain as well, which is kind of like a private blockchain, so that we can process some transactions in the private blockchain, making it cheaper for us to get those lower transaction fees that we're making available to everybody that is using the marketplace, but still have the benefits from the blockchain technology.
That's great. That's great. Let's keep the questions going. This is great. So when talking about talent, are you talking about people from all over the world, or can it be from a specific region?
Yeah, another great question. So talent is really talent from all over the world. And we have seen a great opportunity to bring talent, especially from emerging countries, because think about what's happening with Ukraine. And we were actually at the Emerge Miami conference today. And a lot of developers and talent pools, which is companies that basically bring talent to organizations, were telling us that there is a lot of talent that's fleeing, let's say, Ukraine and Russia, because of what's happening there, right? So all this emerging talent that is great talent that we need here in the United States and other places in the world can be accessed through this marketplace, because you would be able to actually transact with them borderless transactions without having to, for them to get a visa, for example, or for them to be able to transact in US dollars. They would be able to transact using, let's say, cryptocurrencies or fiat, whatever it's best for them, and bring talent from Russia, Ukraine, or India, or South America, or Africa, really anywhere in the world, of course, the United States as well, But the idea is, yes, to create a global talent pool that it's focused on technology and especially in blockchain, because we have seen that there is a lot of demand from the blockchain ecosystem to access developers that are specialized in developing blockchain solutions. So our first go-to-market is going to be working with developers in blockchain, IT pros in blockchain, so that we can bring them into this marketplace.
Love it, love it. Please continue to keep those questions coming, participants. Those are great questions. So how big is the market for your product?
Yeah, so really what we have seen is, according to McKinsey, I'm happy to share the report, is there's a $17 trillion B2B marketplace opportunity for us. And Stefano, you want to share on the blockchain opportunity that we see today?
Oh, you have the, yeah, you need me to share my screen right now?
No, just you can just say it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like Renato says, 17 trillion B2B marketplace that McKinsey has available. There's also, by 2023, we see technology spending by IDC $4 trillion. And then in 2023, the new emerging technology spending with IDC, it stipulates to be about $1 trillion. We're targeting about 0.03% of the market share. That's about $30 billion opportunity for us to capture.
If I remember correctly, in 2027, we're looking at in excess of $100 billion in technology spending.
That's great. That's great. More questions coming in. So I like this idea a lot. As a startup, we use Upwork for many of our projects. So how would this benefit us as a structural engineering firm? How would the payments be processed?
Yeah, that's another great question. So really imagine this really for us, you know, like we were saying, we're going to initially focus on the blockchain talent and the blockchain ecosystem, but the roadmap for Nebulai is to branch out into other specialties, including AI, machine learning, IoT, and cybersecurity. With that, for example, if you're, let's say, an engineering firm, you would be able to access highly skilled talent across different technology verticals. And even we're in conversations with a manufacturing organization that is basically looking to use the Nebulai platform to be able to innovate, to be able to develop highly advanced, let's say, transportation vehicles or transportation machinery, without just saying too much about it. But basically, they want to use a Nebulai platform to be able to innovate, because like I was explaining before, Nebulai, yes, it's a solutions and talent marketplace, but mainly it's an innovation platform. Because if you're an organization and you release a challenge on the Nebulai marketplace, the challenge gets broadcasted to all the talent available in the marketplace and all the solution providers available in the marketplace. They can basically crowdsource a solution for your challenge and come together in the request, and having a smart contract to pay all the parties involved in that request. And that would allow a company to create new IP, new intellectual property that they can later on list on the marketplace as a future solution if they wanted to monetize it, or they may want to keep the IP and just basically keep it in-house, let's say, and not publish it on the marketplace. But at the end of the day, the outcome of the whole thing is to innovate, to create new solutions. So that is the main way. So for an engineering firm, you can think about, okay, how can I complement my existing skill set that I have today in my organization, tap into Nebulai as an extension of my organization to be able to innovate faster without me having to hire an AI engineer or a data scientist or a blockchain engineer or a cybersecurity consultant or a, let's say, RPA business strategist. I can tap into the Nebulai marketplace and do more without having to really hire all these people like full time, let's say. And yeah, basically that gives you more flexibility.
To add to that, in a way where they're digital transforming talent into the blockchain, right? So you can actually contract at a more micro level and guarantee that the solution is going to be delivered, or you are going to get payment as well if you deliver solution. So it looks at the fairness of the market and integrity of the process.
Yes, it's kind of similar to, you might be familiar with it in the cloud functions or Lambda. You can think of it as that granular of a task. Instead of hiring an employee, you hire out for a function to be performed.
Oh, that's great. And then just the last little bit of that question, how would the payments be processed?
Yeah, so the payments get processed once the smart contract is created, and you can pay using, let's say, regular fiat US dollars or euros or whatever you may want to use, or you can also pay using crypto. For, let's say, new users of the platform, they don't need to have crypto to use the platform. So kind of like the user journey would be, you go to nebulai.com, you create your user account, you can tie in your existing wallet into the Nebulai marketplace, or you can create your own wallet, and the Nebulai marketplace will kind of like automatically create a wallet for you to be able to transact on the marketplace. So with that, you can pay in crypto, but you could also pay in regular fiat currencies.
Well, yeah, we see digital fiat or even stable coins playing a big part of this, as well as tokens.
Great. What if the project development is complete and the company just needs access to capital in order to implement their solutions? Is the former a prerequisite in order to access the latter?
No, actually, that's a great question. So yeah, you can request. So we have different functions in this marketplace, and I'm gonna quickly go through them. So one is request for proposals, which is basically what we call a project, right? You release a project that is specified, and then companies and solution providers and talent can come into that project and work with you with a smart contract. The other one is request for information, which is basically kind of like a challenge, right? You put a challenge and say, I have an idea of the business outcome I need, but I don't specifically know the technologies that I need to be able to come up with this business challenge. So then you crowdsource and crowdfund talent, solutions, and investment. Then the other one is request for quotation, which is basically directly buying talent or solutions from the marketplace as you see it. Just, for example, you found a developer and you like what they have as the skills published, and you just want to hire them for so many hours per month for a solution that you saw in the marketplace, you like it, you just want to buy it, that's fine. And then to the question, which is request for funding, which is basically an investment request, you can go on the Nebulai marketplace and put a request for funding for your project, and then access the DeFi ecosystem to be able to get funding from that DeFi ecosystem. The idea is also to bring more institutional investors into this ecosystem, but initially it's going to be through the DeFi ecosystem.
Fantastic. And I love that all these questions are coming in. This is exactly what we want. Please continue to ask your questions. It's the whole point. Do you expect to develop your own RFP system as a component of Nebulai for standardized presentations, or do you anticipate just encouraging buyers to use whatever approach they are used to?
That's another great question. So we are building our own RFP functionality in the Nebulai marketplace, and the best thing of that is that it's going to be free for use. So if you're a company and you're releasing RFPs, and let's say you're doing it manually, which a lot of companies are doing, or you may have a system like Ariba or RFP 360 or other systems like that, you will be able to use the RFP functionality from Nebulai free of cost. There is no cost to, let's say, sign up. Whether your company's investor or talent, you can sign up for free. We're monetizing really the transactions. So that's a huge benefit for companies that may just want to use the Nebulai platform to release the RFPs, because that way they can also invite their own vendors, they can invite their own talent to participate in the RFP, and that allows us to grow the ecosystem in an organic way by adding this value to everybody, kind of like more of a freemium model.
And for those who aren't super familiar, can you explain requests for proposals, those RFPs, just broad strokes?
Yeah. So request for proposal is basically kind of like, let's say, the process that a lot of companies go through to be able to contract some vendor in most cases, right? In technology, what this is used for is like, let's say you have a company such as a Fortune 500 company, let's say Coca-Cola wants to release an RFP to be able to reimagine the way that their vending machines can integrate into blockchain, for example, right? Then Coca-Cola will be able to release an RFP on the Nebulai platform, say, I want to create this project as an RFP. These are the specifications. This is how much budget I have for the whole project. These are the outcomes I'm expecting. Can the providers give me a proposal on the request for proposal so that I know which provider or providers or a combination of them I can pick for this particular project. And then at the end of that, they make a selection and they go with a set of providers or provider, and then a contract gets created between the parties. And then there's execution from the delivery partners to the company. And then, services are delivered, and then that's the end of the contract. Everybody gets paid. So on the Nebulai side, we're digitizing the contracting process using smart contracts so that this process gets done more efficiently and automatically. And the best thing for both sides is that on the company side, it would be more secure for them, because let's say the provider doesn't provide the solutions or services that they promised, they would be able to request them to stake, let's say, put money in escrow or put a stake in the game to kind of like certify that if they don't deliver services to the specifications needed, then the company will be able to get kind of like almost like a refund from this escrow that was deposited, which is an incentive for the other side, which is, let me not mess up with this delivery because I'm putting my money on the escrow to make sure that this is done the right way. And on the solution provider side, they also want to get paid immediately. So as soon as they deliver a milestone, they can get paid immediately, which allows them to be more agile and have access to cash flow in a better way.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
No, yeah, one last thing, the smart contract will guarantee the integrity of payment and process, and that everybody's stake is hold to integrity of the contract. So, the contract basically guarantees that from the buyer to the seller, or for that matter, the whole ecosystem of contributors, stakeholders are going to be held together by the smart contract, make sure the integrity of the process maintained at all times.
Yeah, and that also ties into the question we had earlier about payments. We can the smart contract can have milestones so that as the provider it reaches certain milestones, some of the payment can be released once it's been completed. So, yeah.
The simplest way to explain is we're digitizing a statement of work, a technical statement of work with a project timelines and KPIs, and that becomes the payment processing path for the contract to be executed.
Great. Thanks for that 30,000-foot description. We're a little bit past halfway now, so I want to remind folks, as always, this company is actively raising capital on the Netcapital platform. You can go to netcapital.com/companies/Nebulai, or you can go to netcapital.com and search Nebulai, or you can click the link that I just added into the chat, and that is NEBULAI. So definitely check that out. Let's keep getting to these questions because they're coming in. So in short, you guys are connecting people to companies looking for talent through a blockchain system. Does that feel fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair to say. Yeah, and we're creating an innovation platform for organizations to leverage to be able to access both solutions and talent.
Perfect. And somebody was asking, can you dig a little deeper into that private blockchain versus public blockchain mix? Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So let's say on the private side, really, for example, there's many use cases for going with a combination of private and public. For example, let's say you may have organizations that may not want to publish their RFPs in the public blockchain because they don't want them to be, let's say, even captured in the public blockchain, even if they may be encrypted. So the ability to have a private blockchain allows you to have this permission blockchain where the transactions will be kept private for this organization. And also the other benefit for us is really having access to this lower transaction fees that can be achieved on the private blockchain because you don't have to pay, let's say, the transaction fees that have to be paid on the public blockchain. On top of that, the ability to have a private blockchain allows us to scale faster. in case there is bottlenecks in, let's say, in the public blockchain, we'll be able to keep transactions in the private blockchain and consolidate the transactions in the public blockchain if there were any glitches with that. And yeah, the public blockchain is great because you still want to have some sort of like transparency layer on this marketplace, that since it's decentralized, to be able to make sure that everybody can trust that Nebulai is not tampering with, let's say, the private blockchain or making changes on them without having a way to verify those transactions. So imagine you would have this type of transaction transparency from Amazon, right? Amazon, you don't know what's going under the hood, what they're doing with the databases and the transactions that happen under Amazon.com. On Nebulai, every transaction would be able to be audited, for example. There will be full transparency on what's going on all the transactions, who's buying what, who's reviewing what, and they cannot be changed. So that's the benefit of having the marketplace on blockchain. And we see a future where all marketplaces in the Web2 space, like Amazon, eBay, and so on, will become decentralized. But we believe that Nebulai will be one of the first decentralized marketplaces in the world.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. And in a request for a proposal, how would the smart contract work? How would it be generated?
Yeah, so some people think like, oh, you know, this sounds super complicated because a smart contract is it's a kind of like a program, let's say legal contract, right? In a simple way to say it, let's say. But really, we don't have to digitize the full contract. We just need to digitize the milestones, timelines, and payments, which is the key piece of that. The agreement between the two parties, it's something that is captured in the RFP. And if there were any issues with the RFP, or let's say from either side of the contracting side on let's say one side did not deliver, one side did not do this or that, the Nebulai marketplace is going to have a dispute resolution system that is also going to be decentralized through a system of, let's say, arbitrators that will be able to resolve any disputes in the system without Nebulai being the one that makes the decision. So imagine on eBay, you buy something on eBay. eBay has a customer service that they resolve to the best benefit of eBay, not to the buyer or seller of the dispute, which has happened to me many times. So it's really unfair. On a decentralized marketplace, you are really decentralizing this and giving it to a third party so that they can make an objective judgment on the real resolution of the dispute, so that you can get the best outcome possible for either party. And yeah, so basically, to recap, the smart contract is mainly used for payments of milestones and the delivery of services, and be able to allow for this functionality of putting a stake in the game when you are contracting other parties.
Great. What if the project is not based on blockchain technology? Are you still able to implement the solution?
Yes, but it would be your Web2, let's say, solution. It would be kind of like, let's say, like an Amazon.com or an eBay for solutions and talent, or Upwork. So nothing would be different from the perspective of having this transparency, this decentralization, the democratization of the platform will not be part of the value prop of Nebulai, let's say. So without the blockchain, we would really have to centralize this marketplace, and a lot of the benefits will not come with it. So that's why we're going with blockchain, not because it's cool or everybody's trying to get into Web3, is because we truly have seen that there is technical benefits and business benefits from using blockchain technologies for this marketplace.
Yeah, and to add to Renato's, I mean, the whole ethos of Web 3.0 is not only decentralization, but disintermediation, right? The people's in the middle to take bread out of your mouth. So decentralization allows for a democratic process and drives the process to be democratic to everybody in this that's taking the contract. Don't have someone taking the bread out of your family or your mouth. So that's the beauty of blockchain. Traditional marketplaces right now, they're centralized, and that's what exactly they do. We're looking at converting that into a completely decentralized solution. So you are in control of your destiny. That's what Web3 does for you.
Yeah, decentralized, the name of the game. So who does the background checks and ensures that the talent on there are qualified to work with companies they're working with? Do the companies do their own vetting?
Yeah, another great question. So initially, we're going to rely on, let's say, third-party validators to be able to bring this talent into the marketplace. So programmatically validating their skills, for example, and especially in the technology space. And this is why we're focusing on the technology space, because all this has been kind of like programmatically done already. If you're, let's say, a developer, most likely than not, you may have some certifications that can be validated through APIs. On top of that, of course, you can ingest some data from, let's say, your LinkedIn profile or your GitHub repositories. So all these things can be programmatically validated. And that would be the initial basis for the reputation system at Nebulai. From there, really, the reputation of the transactions that happen in the marketplace take over, and they start having a higher weight on your, let's say, your point system or your star system in Nebulai, so that people know when they hire you, you're a quality developer. And unlike other platforms, which they tend to skew the data to their benefit, because let's say Upwork or Fiverr may not have the best incentives to have a one-star developer, right? Because they're never going to get hired. On the Nebulai platform, because the reputation is immutable, Nebulai would have no way to tamper into this reputation, making it more transparent for companies to really hire somebody that actually has 5 stars, if they do have the 5 stars, and know that, in fact, this person is a good quality professional.
Thank you for that, Renato. Continuing along here, what is the business model? How does Nebulai make money?
Yeah, so we have a quick slide on that. So great question on Nebulai. We were mentioning this for stakeholders already. So the whole ecosystem really is companies, right, looking for solutions and talent, or to innovate through the Nebulai marketplace, talent being able to polish their skills and work on projects. Solution providers, which could be startups, system integrators, independent software vendors that want to publish their solutions, B2B, B2C on the Nebulai marketplace, and develop new technologies as well. And DeFi, which is the investors ecosystem through DeFi, to bring funding for projects, whether from companies looking for investment or solution providers looking for investment. From all this, we really capture the transaction fees, which we want to make them less than 3% transaction fees, which is well below the average, which is 20 to 30% transaction fees. And then being able to monetize other aspects of the marketplace, which is, for example, intellectual property. Think about all the transactions that start happening in this marketplace. We will be able to identify gaps in the solutions that are not published by solution providers, to be able to develop our own IP around it, using our own marketplace to develop the IP, by the way, and then publish those solutions in the marketplace so that they can be monetized, kind of like cover the gaps that we find in the marketplace itself. Of course, the first approach would be to find a provider that already has a solution so that we don't have to build it. But if in fact we find that this solution has not been built by anybody, then we build it ourselves, right? And we can monetize that. The other one is added services. So for example, if a company, let's say, doesn't quite have the expertise to be able to work on a project or define what is that is needed for the project to happen and be published on the marketplace as an RFP, then you can work with consulting firms, right? Medium to large consulting firms, such as could be EY, Capgemini, KPMG, and so on, or other middle-sized companies that may want to provide this consulting services to companies. And then, so Nebulai then will become kind of like a mechanism where we can tap into revenue sharing from that. And finally, premium subscriptions. So from all the data that is collected on the marketplace, we will be able to sell premium subscriptions for people looking to have access to this data to make predictions on the marketplace. For example, let's say DeFi, right? So investors may want to know, okay, what are the most successful solutions that are published in the marketplace? What could be the next possible solution that maybe profitable from the investment standpoint, or solution providers may want to know what is the seasonality of the release of RFPs, in which countries, in which industries, what are the gaps that the companies are finding when they release the RFPs. Or talent may want to find, for example, hey, what is the next opportunity to develop new skills? And companies may want to find out, for example, like what is the ecosystem currently today? What opportunities we have to innovate in a space that hasn't been explored yet on the marketplace. So all this type of data points can be accessed and provided at a premium subscription level, so that all the parties here can leverage those functionalities.
That's great. That was super helpful. And there are a couple of questions that align with like competitive landscape. So I'm just going to read the question and let's just dig into other players in the space. So this sounds a lot like Genesis AI platform, except for business function sourcing and contracting. Are any other direct competitors in the space in the SaaS marketplace? And then aside from smart contracts, excuse me, what is the difference between your initiatives and the typical headhunters providing talent to implement blockchain technology? So yeah, if we could just go through this slide and talk about the competitive landscape, that'd be super helpful.
Yeah, so let's look at this one, right? So we have on the horizontal axis, we have centralized marketplaces to the left and decentralized marketplaces to the right. On the vertical axis, we have solutions marketplaces on top, and then at the bottom, talent marketplaces. So we're kind of have like a two-dimensional or a four-dimensional compete landscape here. But really what we're looking at here is that on the top left, you have centralized marketplaces that are mainly solutions marketplaces. So centralized solutions marketplaces. Companies such as Ingram, Micro, or Tech Data, which are the big technology distributors, have marketplaces for traditional technology solutions, and they're outdated, Web 2, and they have no RFP functionality, no innovation. They're just click and buy. That's it. RFP 360 and Lupio are RFP marketplaces. They have mainly RFP functionality, but they have created marketplaces around RFPs because they saw this opportunity. But they're not in the technology space. They're mainly, let's say, they're cross-industry, so they have no specialty. On the bottom left, you have talent marketplaces that are centralized, such as Upwork and Fiverr. So for them, talent is their product. That's their business model. They want to monetize talent. They wouldn't be able to get into a business model where they don't monetize talent unless they do a complete shift on their business model. So on top of that, they're Web 2. Let's say if they were even able to add the smart contract functionality, they would have to really rethink the whole marketplace concept to be able to make it decentralized, to be able to be something like Nebulai. On the decentralized talent marketplaces, we have two companies already in market. So Hive Decentralized Autonomous Task Marketplace, which is a blockchain-based talent marketplace. So think about Nebulai, but just talent. And then CanWork, which is an Australian-based company, also blockchain talent marketplace. And it's even more limited than Hive, but they're also only talent. Nebulai is really the only decentralized solutions in talent marketplace, and the only company that does not monetize talent and monetizes the IP created by talent, which is a completely new way of thinking about this. And that was what's making us different.
This is a very helpful slide. Thank you so much for sharing that. We have our last 10 minutes here, and I do want to give the panelists a heads up that I'm going to ask you at the very end for closing remarks. So I'm giving you a heads up. Basically, you're going to be able to tell the folks that are here with us why now is the perfect time to go to netcapital.com and hit that invest button to join the Nebulai team. So I'm giving you a heads up on that. We're going to save a couple of minutes at the end for that. But before we get there, let's get through a couple more questions. What is some of your progress so far, and what are some of the next major milestones for Nebulai?
Yes, great question. So on the Nebulai side, we are, let me just go through this. Progress so far has been really reaching a level where we have around more than 55 combination of solution providers and talent pools that have signed up to join the platform. On top of that, we're working with $6 billion blockchain company that I'm not going to be able to name today, but basically to bring their ecosystem into the Nebulai marketplace. We are also in conversations with an organization in manufacturing space, like I was saying, to potentially license the Nebulai marketplace as a way for them to have this innovation platform to innovate within their organization. And we already started building the UI thanks to the investment that came from friends and family from the first 3 weeks that we went live. So we are expecting to finish the marketplace, the MVP, by the end of the year, and start having early adopters on the MVP and start monetizing not only the public blockchain, but also monetize the marketplace as a licensed solution, so that companies that may not want to be in the public marketplace at all, they can use Nebulai as an innovation platform in-house. So yeah, I think at a high level, and also we're in partnering with universities here in South Florida, such as Miami-Dade College, FIU, and other universities that are looking to bring talent into the blockchain space. And we're working with them to be able to create a rapid development of talent and bring this talent into the Nebulai marketplace. So that is kind of like our go-to-market on bringing highly skilled talent into the marketplace as well, beyond the partnerships with talent pools from emerging countries.
That's great. And do you have any intellectual property or other things that make you that make this product more defensible?
Yeah, so we are basically on the IP. We have done the exercise of doing a research on the IP that it's unique. Basically, there is no other marketplace like this today that has been patented. We have started the process of the patent filing, and we are looking to also protect that using other, let's say, protections that we have been able to find overseas to be able to make sure that, let's say, even if the concept is recreated, the intellectual property is protected.
Perfect. And then what do you see as potential exits for investors?
Yeah, so the potential exit for investors could be from the Nebulai side. We have a strong commitment on building on the vision of creating the first decentralized solutions and talent marketplace in the world, and also to make sure that as, let's say, new opportunities arise, the team is open to potential opportunities to the benefit of the organization, the key stakeholders of the marketplace, and of course, any investors that may have invested on the platform.
Perfect. And that gives us, I think, a chance. Actually, could we do a couple moments on any deal highlights that you'd like to announce? Any key factors that could encourage folks to come in and join? And then we'll do closing remarks.
Yeah, so I would say this is a great opportunity to get early into a technology company that is disrupting the way that the technology ecosystem it's handled today. We are really disrupting the way not only contracting is done, but innovation is done through a decentralized marketplace that is purely focused on technology. And not only that, from the founder's perspective, I will say we have a strong commitment to making sure that this is a fair marketplace for developers and IT pros to be able to get the most benefit from the skills they already have, and not take advantage of the fact that let's say we could monetize that, right? Because we are coming from the technology space, we know what it feels like to be taken advantage of by, let's say, third parties, intermediators, to be able to sell our skills, like talent arbitrage, and that doesn't feel good. So we're removing the middleman or the intermediaries on the process here, on the value chain. So we are hopeful that this marketplace is gonna disrupt the way that organizations contract and innovate with technology solutions and talent. So I'll pass it on to Stefano for closing remarks.
That was perfect, Renato. I think Nebulai is a human-centric organization. We're focused more on human protection of the value you bring to the solution. And that's what we're trying to bring to market, a solution that creates integrity, unlike nothing else in the market. Currently, if you go to a legal contract, whichever has more power is usually the one that wills the contract. Whether is it written or not, it becomes irrelevant. Smart contracts are immutable and unbreakable, and the idea is to bring that kind of value to the professional community, and allows for a more fertile and progressive way to go about it through Web 3.0 and democratization solution. So hopefully you guys see the value behind this. There's nothing like this in the market. We're trying to change the market, and I hope Nebulai can become the future work. With that, Raul, you want those remarks?
Yeah, I guess this is my chance to tell Eric why I think it's a good time to invest in Nebulai. Is that correct? So,
Yes, please.
so besides everything that that's been said before, because we truly believe this, I would say that it's a good time to invest through Netcapital, because right now the investment will get you a lot of stock. As soon as the cap table changes, which we expect to happen in a fairly short period of time, the price will go up. So now it's probably better to invest than later.
All right. With all that being said, I would love to thank all of the attendees for coming in and asking your very thoughtful questions. Thank you so much for your time. I'd love to thank our panelists here with the Nebulai team for sharing about your company and what you're building. It's been a pleasure to work with you all. And I'm going and add a link here to the YouTube account. This is Netcapital's YouTube. This webinar has been recorded and will be uploaded to that link. And I think somebody also shared a link to the Nebulai YouTube, which will have a copy as well. So feel free to check that out. Anything that you might have missed, also feel free to share it with anybody that you think might want to learn more about Nebulai and potentially invest. With all that being said, I want to thank you all again for joining me. As always, do go ahead and check out the offering page for this issuer. Again, you can go directly to netcapital.com/companies/Nebulai. You can go to Netcapital and search for Nebulai, or you can click the link that I've added into the chat feature and go directly to that offering page. Learn more. And of course, if you are so inclined, you can invest with the push of a button. Thanks again for everybody for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you for providing your time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye.